When we were young, we have reviewed all of the records. They are all up on our channel right now, and the festival, by the time you're seeing this, has already happened. We have decided to do a When We Were Young 2024 album draft, where we will be going through our picks. At the end of this, make sure that you are letting us know in the comments who won, who did the best, who has the best picks of all of them. In this draft, we have 4 categories. Our first one is top records. These are the albums that we think are the best, the ones that were most worth your time to listen to, the albums that we stand by and put our entire reputation on. Second category is least faves. These are the ones that we did not particularly like, the ones we were not into, and probably our spiciest opinions about these albums that were being played at the fest.
If you would watch any of our videos, we would have a very immense adverse reaction, I were to say.
The third category is surprise hits. These are the ones that we went in maybe not knowing. Maybe we knew a little bit of it, but we were very pleasantly surprised by how much we ended up liking it. Things that maybe are a new favorite. Maybe we're just like, no, I actually just really want to listen to this again and again and again. And I'm a new fan of it.
If anything, this was about a lot of music discovery along the way, even for stuff that maybe has been around, but it was just under our radar. And honestly, some of them ended up being Bangertown, USA.
And the fourth category is wild cards. So this is a theme that Lizzie and I can pick individually, and we can throw up whatever we want, whatever we think makes sense. And this is kind of just a wild pick for the albums that we think are better than the other ones. We will each get 5 picks. When an album is picked, that's it. It belongs to that person. There are no duplicate albums on this list. That might get contentious if one of us says we hated an album that the other person really liked, and it ends up on the opposite list in which the other person wanted it on. We will go in snake drafting order. I have won the coin toss, so I will be picking if I go first or second. Now, what this means is that if I go first, I get the first pick, but you would get the second and the third pick, which means you get 2 even though you go second, which is why I'm going to let Lizzie pick first.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, so you will get to make the first choice in the When We Were Young 2024 draft picks.
All right, so I'm going to start with my my number one least favorite is Atreyu's The Curse.
So I'm going to be honest, I almost picked this for one of mine just for the sake that I was like, I do not want Lizzie to be able to say the curse at all during this pick. Because, like, it's been such a, like, long-standing thing since we did it so early in our reviews that, like, this has been almost a full year of hearing about you talk this shit about the curse.
I'm going to continue. It was bad. This is probably This was the only album where I had to stop and motivate myself to finish. This was
my God.
Number 57. If we're ranking them in order, this was the worst thing I have ever listened to for this review.
That's insane.
I'm not taking it back. It still haunts me. It has cursed me to haunt my emotions and thoughts because it was so bad.
Madness.
I'm happy I went first.
For my first draft pick, I'm going to go with surprise hits, and I'm picking The Forecast.
I'm not shocked by that one.
From like the moment we listened to this, I was like, this is a brand new surprise album for me that I'm like such a massive fan of. And obviously, like, we reached out to The Forecast and we're like, we want to hang out. We want to talk to you about this record. So, I mean, I've been listening to this since we listened to it for the review. It has been an absolute massive, like, new band, new hit record in my rotation of bands that I didn't know I needed in my life. So I have to put the respect on their name, and I'm picking it as my first pick. Surprise hits. I was surprised.
Wasn't very surprising for me that you picked it because that was also on mine, and we were both in that same vein at least. So I'm not shocked or mad by that.
Which is also why I'm picking it, because I'm like, no, you can't have that one.
I
want that one.
I knew you were going to go for that one. Don't worry.
Second pick. I think I'm safe for a minute on this. So in an effort of safety, I'm going to go with my top record. Okay. My top record of this whole thing, I'm going with Good Apollo on Burning Star 4. I'm doing it. I'm full sending it. After doing all the reviews, that's the one.
I really thought it was going to be like Chiodos or Devil Wears Prada based on everything, but also this is one that I definitely could see based upon how enthusiastic you were the entire time about it and how much I thought you were going to fight me on site.
Still might. So yeah, my top record, I think this is just one of the ones that a lot of these records came out when I was in high school. These are very formative records for me. These are records that I've listened to a lot over the time that I've, known them. Spent 20 years with a lot of these records. I think after finally getting through them all, I was like, this is like the record that's being played at this fest. The record that's being played at this fest that I'm like, this means the most to me. This is the one that I still want to listen to constantly. I'm not getting tired of it, even though it's 77 minutes. I still want to listen to it. I still want to jam it. I still want to put it on. I still want to repeat it. I literally put it on last night. I was like, fuck it, I'm putting it on. I'm listening to it today. I don't know. It's just like, in the end of the day, this is probably my favorite record that's being played at this festival, and I'm stoked to hear it, and I'm stoked to see it probably twice.
I'm going to go with a surprise. This is one I wasn't sure to feel about, but this also fell in line with these 2 different surprise hits that we were like, who are these people? One being The Forecast and one being Pretty Girls Make Graves. I really like this album. I really like the name of the band because it's very goth, very emo. Love it. Okay. Listening to this is indie rock classic staple for me. Again, I say if this came out this year in 2024 or even 2014 or when this originally came out back in the early 2000s, you could not convince me it didn't come out during either of these years. I feel like this is such a album that you can listen to and you don't really get tired of. It's something that can span and be long lasting.
I didn't like this record, so it's fine.
Yeah, I know you do. I know.
And it wasn't actually on my least faves because I was like, I don't dislike it enough.
This is definitely my shit because I like that type of indie, crunchy Riot Girl sound because I feel that it's just timeless.
Yeah.
In the alt world, at least. I'm going to do a wild card. So for my wild card theme, I really just went down the road of I was half and half on it. Where literally I maybe liked half of what was actually there and I disliked the other half. Really nothing that deep, but there were enough that I took some time to go through and say which ones could I give another try or would I prefer because I like the acts themselves overall rather than I just do not like this album fully.
Fair.
So this was a little bit harder for me to narrow down because I was kind of in the middle with a good amount of it. I'm going to start off with Simple Plans, no pads, no helmets, just balls.
All right.
This was an album that I really love Simple Plan. I see them almost every time that they have performed recently when they've been on tour, and they always put on such a fantastic show. It's always super fun, energetic. Re-listening to this, though, I was split 50-50. There was just a lot of stuff on here that, again, I probably was super into when I was way younger. And now at 29, it is not what it is to me anymore. However, there are a lot of different singles that came from this that are very long-standing, long-lasting. And just in general, Simple Plan puts on such a phenomenal show that I would be super remiss if I didn't go and catch this in general anytime that they were to be on tour.
I'll do my wild card
Okay.
now. I'll explain my wild card.
Let's go.
So my wild card picks were albums that I have come around on or changed my mind on in some way. So it could be records that I did not like going into this or didn't think I would like and then said, you know what, I actually do like this record. Things that I might have heard before and said, I do like it. Or records that I may have gone in and said, I've listened to this record, I kind of liked it. And now I'm like, oh, wait, I don't think I actually like this record. Like, I'm not into this as much as I thought I was. Or like, my mind has changed a little bit over time or something about it has changed my opinion on the record. First choice for wild card is Commit This to Memory.
Really? Okay.
And the reason that I came around on this record is what I mentioned in the episode is like I had heard this through like an ex who had shown this to me and been like, oh, I really like this band. And I listened to it and said, oh, why? Upon re-listening to it for the review, I realized that I actually really love this record. Like I was actually very into it and have listened to it multiple times. I'm like more than I needed to actually get like a good review of it for this. I stand by this record as like I was wrong about it in the beginning. I've come around to it quite a bit. I love this record. I think Motion City has a really good album on their hands.
I mean, this was also on my wild card. Like this was a 50-50 for me at the end of the day too. Because it was, again, I think I just need to go in framing wise. This is only an indie album. This is not a pop punk.
Oh, it's so pop punk. No, you're wrong.
It just doesn't seem that way.
They're wrong.
I'm so sorry, Nick Jonas.
Nicky Jones. All right.
Nick Jonas, come on the pod.
Seriously. I'll do I'll do least faves. My top least fave, my least favorite.
Okay.
I don't think this is going to be surprising. It's Alesana's The Emptiness. again, I wanted to get a couple picks because I don't want to just be known as somebody who just really did not like this record and has the most to say about it. But I also wanted to get, some of the ones that I thought you might get. I know this one will not be picked by you for anything. And there might be some more that I want to get to. So, but I'm like, I didn't want to draft something as like my main least favorite over this one. So I'm picking this because it is my least favorite of all the records that were on this. This is my number 57.
Okay.
Though I do want to pick some for this list that might be on yours somewhere else. We'll see what happens. But I mean, there's nothing else to be said. I've already spent an entire episode talking about how much I dislike this record. So don't like it. Don't care for it.
I'm going to go with my top record. Going with Coral Thing by the Distillers. Were you not thinking?
Okay, I guess I'm less surprised. Your admiration and desire for Brody Daly and her style and aesthetic is like, yeah, all right. Yeah, all right.
I think this is a band that, again, it falls more in the punk realm. So when we see it every day or whenever, we don't associate it with like the emo pop punk scene. So when I saw that they were on the lineup, I literally started like screaming because I love this band so much. This would be, I am sprinting in, like nobody speak to me, do not look at me.
This was on my wild card as albums I've come around a lot on because I, didn't remember hearing this album so much. Again, an ex-girlfriend. So it's like one of those albums that I'm like, I'm not going to be that into it. And was very pleasantly surprised at how good the album is.
I was also worried that this was going to be in your wild card because I remember and I said, no, I have to get to this one first. I have to.
It would have been in there. It wasn't high up, so you would have had a chance.
Oh, good. Yeah. Sticking with top records.
All right.
I have things in order, but I'm like, did I put them in the right order that I want them to, though?
Or are you scared that I'm going to pick one?
Yeah, that one too.
Because I think we like a lot of the same records.
Yeah, I think that's the issue.
Like we liked a lot of the same ones, we disliked a lot of the same ones, and the ones that like we differed on, we probably aren't going to pick.
Yeah.
For the same ones. So it might be time to start picking some ones I think the other person's going to pick. Yeah.
So my second top would definitely be 303's Want.
All right. Yeah, you picked one that I added on my list.
Yeah, I figured that one. 303 are just really fun live. They're nice guys. This is a fantastic album. I bump this on the regular. It's just fun. It's goofy. It's unserious. And when it can be serious with like Colorado Sunrise, for example, insane. Still around.
Listening to this record back, I was like, no, this is also one of like the top 5 records I want to hear in full on this show. So I was gonna pick it, and so that's the first one that I'm like, fuck. All right, I gotta reconsider.
Everybody needs to go see 303's Want.
Because I think you're going to pick some of the other ones that I have in top. And
that's what I'm worried about. That's what I was like looking at. I'm like, I know some other ones. I'm like, he's not going to put these as the top.
Yeah.
Not some of them I know that you might pick as a least, though, that are my top.
That's the problem. That's the real problem.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's where hands start getting thrown.
I'm going to pick a least favorite. I don't think this is the one. Because I think you think I'm going to throw Hawthorne Heights in here.
Yeah, I do.
But I am not going to do that yet. For my second least favorite pick, I'm going with Never Take Friendship Personal by Amberlynn.
Hate it here.
I was very surprised I didn't like this record. My opinion has not really changed on it. I still don't think there's a lot of very strong songs on it. I still think Paper Thin Hymn is the only one that's like not on another record that is really good. We've met, we've hung out with, we've seen Amberlynn. They're a great live band. Maddie Mullins is doing a fantastic job with them. So I have no issue with them. There's nothing else besides I just didn't like this record. I'm still not into it. I'm not revisiting it. And it's just going on my least faves. And I'm also picking it because I don't want you to have it on yours.
God damn it, I knew it.
I'm responding to want by putting this in my least faves. All right, I'm going with surprise hits for my next one. There were 2. We both agree that these records were underrated. These were really shocking that we had never heard these before, and we were big fans of them now. And so I'm picking The Other Side by Tonight Alive.
Okay.
I really think that what this album does is really interesting. It's different than a lot of the other bands. It is a band that is clearly able to do some stuff like Senses Fail, like Hawthorne Heights, like, all these other bands that are in that same sort of emo, more like heavy more like guitar oriented emo type stuff. But I really like identified with like a lot of the content on this album. I really just enjoyed every performance on it. I think the songs are fucking killer. This is a band that like I had never really heard much about, and you know they've been broken up, and now a lot of people are very excited they're back, and I'm one of them. And like I've been listening to this record since we did the review too, because I'm just like, this is just a good record. It's just a good album.
I also had this on my surprise, but Tonight Alive, this was really stupid good.
Stupid good, really good.
All right, I'm gonna go with another least.
If you do what I think you're about to fucking do right now, I'm gonna end your whole goddamn career. I'm gonna end your whole goddamn career. Do it. I'm gonna end your whole fucking career.
Dance Gavin Dance's Mothership.
All right, that's fine. That's not what I thought you were gonna do. All right.
Oh no! I was like, oh shit! I didn't think he was that into Dance Gavin Dance like that.
No, I didn't put it in my favorites. Like, you know, I'm a huge fan of Dance Gavin Dance, but it's not in my favorites.
I didn't think it was gonna be that serious. Holy shit! This is just not it for me. I really still stick to what I said, that they should just go Polyphia, Strawberry Girls route. Just ditch the vocals. They can noodle around all they want. The lyricism is something that I do really enjoy, even if it is just goofy. But this is just trying to take goofy and make it serious for the fact that they are in this more, sometimes quote unquote, deeper lyricism wise genre. And they're just trying to get by with it. And I still pose the question of, when does a band become a cover band when you lose your singer so many times over?
I put this in my changing my mind on it wild card round.
Oh, okay.
It's not in my, I mean, I'm a huge Dance Gavin Dance fan, but like I said, this is not even, to me, their best record. Like, I don't have strong feelings about this at all.
That's
despite
fair.
what I was saying, because I thought you were going to do something else.
I'm going to do another surprise. My second surprise was Census Fail, Still Searching. Now, Census Fail is a band that I just never really listened to much other than the singles. So listening to this and knowing how our friends at Extra Adventure, and honestly a lot of other people that I do know too, would love Census Fail, I was like, I gotta be missing something here. I just never listened to it for one reason or another. And this almost had no misses for me. I was very thoroughly impressed. I do like Buddy's vocals. It was just a shocker to me. And it wasn't good, bad, or otherwise. It was just because I never actually fully listened to Census Fail. And this was like, oh my God, this is really good.
You did really like this record. And I don't want to take anything away from anybody. Good for you.
Wow.
You can have this one. I don't mind that one.
Okay.
I'm about to hurt your fucking feelings,
I'm
and I
going
don't
to
care.
kill you.
I'm gonna do a wild card.
I'm gonna beat your ass.
So this is an album that I came around to, that I had like sort of a surprise experience with, that I listened to before, and like now I realize like how much I really like this record, and like just through hearing all of these all in like one package of a festival, I was like, whoa, this one now is really standing out to me in a way that it never did before. I'm picking Say It Like You Mean It for my wild card.
I hate you so much. I knew this was probably going to be your wild card or surprise, and that's why I debated from my top what I should have done next.
Yeah.
I hate this man.
Boo this man. Just really came around on it. Really like it now. Really think that, you know, the Starting Line is a heavily underrated band, as we've talked about a lot. I really think this record is underrated. Even just through posting this episode and people commenting on it, talking about how Direction and Island is underrated. It's like one of those bands that probably should have been a lot bigger. I'm also kind of happy that they're not, because then, you know, we get to just like feel a little bit more access to a band like that and be like, no, that's just for us. And like, there's a small group of people in this world that understand how good the Starting Line is. And we all get to talk about how much we love this band now.
Justice are based on a true story, because I'm not seeing any of you guys talking about that banger of an album in the comments either.
I'm not worried about my top records right now, so I'm not going to pick a top record for a minute. I'm going to pick my third surprise hit.
Okay.
Almost put this under my wild card because I thought, well, I knew that I kind of liked some of it, but I really think that this record, like my opinion on this record was so high after listening to it for this review that like it was really like it was basically a surprise hit. Even though I knew some of the songs on it, even though I'd already been familiar with it, I was like, this to me is a surprise hit. So my third surprise hit record is Dusk and Summer by Dashboard Confessional.
Really?
Yep. No, this is another record that's been in constant rotation since we did the review on it. I was very shocked by how many good songs were on this album, how much I really liked all the songwriting on it. A record I really wrote off as being a Hollister core. And it turns out like, no, this just has so many songs that like I absolutely love now. I can listen to this record on repeat and not get bored of it, not get tired of it. Big fan of it. Think that, this is a record that everybody should be listening to if they ever wrote it off. If you had the popular kids in high school like that were really into it and you just were like, I don't want to listen to that. That's what all the like kids that watch the OC and all that listen to.
Yeah.
It's not. This is up there with some of the best albums on this fest for me. But I wanted to put it under surprise hits because it really changed my opinion on Dashboard and this album.
That's fair. I actually had it under my wild card because I was kind of 50-50 on it. But I mean, I had it kind of far down anyway.
Yeah. Good.
All right.
Don't hurt me too much.
I don't know. Damn. I gotta be worried about you hurting me at this point.
Well, I gotta take something. I'm like, because I'm also thinking like if in the end, like my least faves is not gonna get voted for over yours. Like I'm already gonna lose on that. I think that like where I could have better results is my surprise hits and my wild card.
Yeah.
So I'm taking advantage of those.
That's fair.
I shouldn't tell you my strategy, but it's fun for the video.
I mean, I
guess.
had an idea that we were going to have different tops, but I knew what would be in your release because I know you.
Well, yeah. I also was very clear. These clips have done.
I know your visceral reactions to things.
I gotta talk.
I hate it. I'm going to do another top because you took my other one. Silence in Black and White by Hawthorne Heights.
I mean, obviously. Also, good you got this on there.
I know you. Yeah, the one you said earlier. Oh, I got that. I ain't letting you do that to me again.
Really, I think I'm just surprised that it's the third one, but
I really love two other albums more than Silence in Black and White, and those would be If Only You Were Lonely and Skeletons.
If Only You Were Lonely is good.
It is.
It's a really good record.
Only If You Were Lonely on their anniversary tour. It was so amazing, but I do love Hawthorne Heights. I'm gonna go with Wildcard. You've already taken two. I'm gonna go with Collide with the Sky from Pierce the Veil. I never listened to Pierce the Veil, so this was like my first time listening to it in full outside of literally just King for the Day for the most part. It was fine. I feel that at a certain point it did get repetitive, and it was pretty much a 50-50 split for me. It would be something I go back and listen to, because I do like some of the spookier elements, but otherwise, after a certain point, it's like, I'm okay to move on to something else.
I actually had it on my wild card too because it's one that I actually felt a little bit lesser about than when I originally had heard it when it came out, and like how much I love Pierce the Veil. I actually felt a little bit less strongly about it in this listen, and it's only proven to me that Selfish Machines is a phenomenally better record than this, and I recommend like, if you're not into Pierce the Veil, Selfish Machines is the one. Like, Collide with the Sky is maybe not a perfect encapsulation of what Pierce the Veil can really be. The songwriting is just better on Selfish Machines. And I changed my mind about it, too. I might be switching up my list a little bit here, though.
Oh, shit.
Because I'm like, do I want this, like, down there? Or do I want to put this up because I want to win? I'm going to go top records.
Oh, man.
Is this what I want to do? Yeah.
Is it?
I just don't think you're going to pick some of these. So I'm like, do I want to pick this? And then...
I don't know. Your visceral reaction earlier before I said Dance Gavin Dance, where you were going to kill me, I don't know, actually.
Because I thought you were going to say Plagues, and I was going to be like, fuck you.
Well.
But you didn't. And no, okay, don't tell me. But I realized like it's not even in like my top 5. So far I think we're fine. Like I'm fine on top records. So I feel okay not picking some right now. And I might want to, because I'm thinking about, I'm game theorying this, right? Where like, I don't want to pick something for one that I don't think people are going to say, like they're going to say, oh, that's your least favorite. Like that's not even a bad record. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm picking it because I think it's a bad record, but I don't necessarily think that people will vote for it. So game theorying this out, I might just want to stick with ones that I'm like feeling good about, and I'll solid these lists out that I think you might pick some of these so that I'm solid on these lists. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going with surprise hits instead. I'm just going to get another surprise hit in and get it done. The Finer Things, State Champs.
I knew it. That was also on mine.
I'm like, I know that she's got this on hers,
I
so I gotta do it.
I hate it here.
Unfortunately, an absolute bop, an absolute banger record. Unfortunately, bangers. And we've run into State Champs since doing our review of it, and I've told Derek and Ryan that this record is really good. I will never apologize to anybody in real life that I know who said you don't even like this band or you don't like State Champs. Like I'm coming around. I'm coming around a lot. I'm locked in. State Champs, good band. State Champs, good music. So I got to pick this because I know you're going to take it from me. And I'm like, no, this right now, this list I'm building for surprise hits is a really good list. So
that
I'm
was going to be
it.
my next surprise
exactly.
hit. I was thinking about it really hard.
Exactly.
God
so
damn it.
I gotta lock that in before too late. All right, I'll do a top record. I'll put a top record down. I'll talk some good things about
you're so
a top record
nice.
that we know. I'm also surprised that we've gone this long and have not dropped My Chem or The Used in
I felt
here.
like that would have been like an easy cop out, honestly.
I don't know, man.
Point.
A lot of people are gonna go, wait, we're gonna by this point in the video, if you're watching this video, you're gonna go, why haven't you put My Chem down?
Yeah.
Why haven't you said the Black Parade at all yet?
Well, remember our review for Black Parade too was like
50-50. Ooh, I know where you're going.
No.
I know what you've done. For my number 2 top record, I'm putting A Lesson in Romantics by Mayday Parade. That's on your 50-50, and I know it.
Yep.
Fuck. That's one of your, that
was also going to be a next one too.
And if we have to like rank like your worst takes, that is one of your worst takes. This record is so good. This record, I mean, I went in knowing it and I knew it was good. And I guess I just like had not been fully engulfed into it in a way where I understood how good this record is. Spotify was like, hey, did you know that we have a Spotify exclusive record vinyl? So I bought that because I'm like, well, I need this on vinyl.
You don't even have a record player.
Doesn't matter. I have a record collection. And I have just absolutely come around to this record. I think that it is for sure one of the best records that's being played at the festival. I think Mayday Parade is just incredible. I'm a massive advocate for this album now, and so I gotta have it on there, and I don't want to lose it out. A lot of people saying, "Yeah, Brian, good job, good on you for top records." I don't think we're gonna have a lot of other like overall.
I don't think we will
overlaps on top. So I'm I don't know, taking a risk here, but I'm putting it in.
So I'm gonna go with surprise. Chiodos, All's Well That Ends Well.
I kind of thought that for you too.
I only listen to Bone Pals Ballet exclusively by Chiodos forever. This was really good. It has these elements of horror punk that I had no idea were actually going to be in this to this extent. I just wish somebody literally bullied me more to listen to this earlier on. I think Craig Owen's voice is very unique. Pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed because I really wasn't sure what way it was going to go because we were kind of in a big sophomore slump for me personally.
I'm glad. I'm straight up just glad that you enjoyed this record and now you have this in your life as somebody who's been listening to it for 20 years. I'm glad you have it. Good on you.
Wow, thank you. I'm going to do my least. My next least favorite was Basement's Color Me in Kindness.
You fuck.
I knew it.
No, that's so wrong though.
If I wanted to listen to Nirvana, I would listen to Nirvana.
It is better than Nirvana. I don't like Nirvana that much.
All right, well then.
But I like a lot of 90s grunge and I like a lot of the sound. I really liked this record and I really liked their set at IFS. I'm like, dude.
I did not like this at all. This would probably be realistically, even though I know we have this order, this would probably be my 56.
56 Reason.
My 56 Reason. My number 56 out of 57.
Craziness.
You had me on a couple, but for the most part, I just said, I got this at home.
Do I hurt her feelings or do I not hurt her feelings? I'm also going to do least faves.
No.
And I'm going to go Best Buds by Mom Jeans.
Okay, that doesn't hurt as much.
My theory here is like, how do I pick the records that will be the most voted as these are some of the worst that are being played at the fest? The ones that people just do not like, that would agree that they do not like them and would see my list and go, oh yeah, you know what? His list actually is like records that I don't like more than that. And I do think that Mom Jeans is a very specific band for very specific people. And compared to a lot of the other artists on this fest and a lot of the other albums that we listen to, this being one of the ones that I identified with the least, that I enjoyed the least, that was like the hardest for me to get through. I also think that there is a lot of other people who agree with that when it comes to like, maybe not Mom Jeans as a band with all of their releases, but certainly at least with like this album. And like maybe they would see this album as not like a full product of great songs and would be like, yeah, I don't need that.
I do also think that a lot of people who are attending When We Were Young Fest and people that I have seen at the fest over 3 years and spoken to or seen in like different like forums and such of that nature, they're not listening to new emo. A bunch of people who were really into the emo pop punk scene in the early 2000s when they were teenagers, they look at Mom Jeans and they say, who's that?
Yeah.
I don't really know what that is. I'm listening more to this because this is my college, late high school era. And there's not that many other people who are probably attending who are in that era just yet for it.
I'm trying to shape up a least faves list that might be a little bit more strong for the audience, I guess. I'll put it that way. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else I want to lock in? Is there anything else that I'm like, I got to lock this in? There is. I'm going to go top. For my third top record, I'm picking Say Anything's Is a Real Boy. Like, I don't think we're going to overlap on that as a top record, but I could see you putting that somewhere else on here.
Yeah.
Because we both loved that one. So I'm locking it in for myself. It's really good. It's a top record being played at the fest. It stands the test of time. We both really liked it. My list here is shaping up pretty nicely, so I'm going to keep it and put it in that list.
Okay. I'm doing surprise. Escape the Fates, This War Is Ours.
All right, you can have that one.
I figured it was probably going to be on your I Changed My Mind.
Yeah, it was.
I figured that, yeah. Already, I just never really listened to Escape the Fate beyond their first 2 singles from their first album. This is exactly what fun, poppy, hard, active radio rock I would be into, and I am into. This was really a big surprise to me. I thought I was going to go in and not like it because you really liked it. So usually sometimes that's a good indicator between the two of us. I did really enjoy this album. I think this has a lot of really fun bops. There's a couple that aren't the best songs, I will say, of course, but I think overall this is a solid like 8.5 out of 10 that I end up really liking it and being kind of shocked by it.
I have nothing else to add.
No.
It wasn't my wild card, so good for you.
I'm going to go with my wild card. Seosin Self-Titled. The Bug album didn't really do that much for me. It was 50-50. I thought it was fine. I really do feel that if you were introducing somebody to this type of style of music, you would say, here is this one band, and you get a general feel for it. I wouldn't personally go out of my way, but I also wouldn't go and shut it off if it came up on like shuffle.
Yeah, I just saw them live, and I was like, damn, they're really good live. I wish I liked the songs. I'm pandering, but I'm going to do my fifth
Of course.
surprise hits. I'm ready to lock in surprise hits and get my top 5 on this.
Okay.
I think I'm strong with this choice. This was another album that I felt, I wasn't going to go into and like as much, and that wasn't going to be something that I really wanted to listen to again. And I was pleasantly surprised that it was much better than expected.
Okay.
Feel Something by Movements.
God damn it.
Yep.
I knew it.
There were a couple on here, especially with surprise hits, that I was like, we are going to have a mad dash for some of them. Really, the 5 that I have here, I'm like, these are most of them. Like, these are most of the surprise hits where I was like, Lizzie's going to pick some of these if I don't pick them. So I have to pick these. And like, Movements is a little pandering because I think of the, 10 surprise hits that I wrote down, like, that's certainly one that I haven't revisited as much as the others. This was a record where I'm like, this is really good. I get it. I'm so sorry that it took me so long. I'm a fan now. I've listened to a couple songs from later Movements albums. So, I'm in. I'm sold. I felt something. I think I got to go wild card.
Okay.
Because I'm running out of records that I wrote down for this one. Because you're taking a lot of them.
I'm already out of my wild card ones. I might have to go and pull a couple.
Yeah. For my next wild card, I'm going with Tell All Your Friends.
Really?
Yeah. And I think it's because as a fan of Taking Back Sunday, this was always like, of the first 3 records, this was always my like number 3. And like, obviously there's a lot of bangers on it, but I do feel like this is a record that is bigger than it's actually like should be. I still think there's a lot of good songs on it, but I do think it's a little bit overrated.
Wow,
Yeah.
dude.
I love it. I mean, I listen to it. I've listened to it plenty of times, even just since the review, but I'm like, I'm like, I would rather listen to Where You Want to Be, which I've listened to recently, and I'm like, this still bangs. Louder Now, I don't even have to listen to it to know that record is a classic. I think the more that we've like dove into Taking Back Sunday as a band, live experience not included, this record really does it. There are songs that stand the test of time. As an album, I don't feel the same about that.
That's so crazy. I would never have thought that you were going to put that on there. I thought that was going to be like one of your tops.
Oh, no. It's never been one of my tops of Taking Back Sunday. I do feel like it's very strong in the first half, and it's a little bit weaker in the back half.
Now, here's the thing. Do I want to hurt you?
I've already locked out one category, so. I
don't think the men are going to like my least favorite list, and that's fine. I'm not trying to cater to men.
I think a lot of people will agree with your least favorite list, which is why I'm kind of like not really fighting for that one right now. Cause like the majority of people are going to go, yeah, that's not the best Atreyu record. That's not the best Dance Gavin Dance. We don't like Dance Gavin Dance. I've never listened to Basement. I'm like, yo, people like Anne Boleyn. They're going to be like, no, you're wrong on that
Anne Berliner's going to be like, hey, dude, what the fuck?
You're wrong on that one. And I'll be like, whatever.
Yeah, you're incorrect.
It's how I feel. I feel that way about it.
All right. Let me do my wild card next.
All right.
All American Reject, self-titled. This one was literally just 50-50. There's already stuff that's on there. My Paper Heart, bangs. Bangertown, USA. But there's just so many other things. Wedding Bells comes to mind, and I just get so annoyed all over again. I'm going to do a top. This one may be one that you weren't expecting, or you might have been. The Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Don't You Fake It.
I was.
The Red Jumpsuit Apparatus are so good live. They're so fun. And this album is really good. I don't know what else to say. I feel this is exactly when I think of this era music, what I think about my high school and late middle school experience. This is the sound that I was listening to moreover before we got more into scene core. It's been a really long time. I really like this album and I need to go and see it.
All right. I'm going to do least.
Oh, no.
The problem is I don't feel good about my list here right now. I don't feel like I'm going to win this list.
Okay.
But I do feel like this record just is not. I think this record might be one that a lot of people share that it's not their best. It's not that good.
Okay.
Stay What You Are saves the day.
Okay.
I obviously very much want to like this record. I think that Saves the Day being an old school, like OG in the scene, really talented, really good songwriting and all that. I really wanted to like this record a lot more because Through Being Cool is so good, and I just don't. And I think a lot of people can probably hear it. They're like, oh, this just isn't as strong. This just isn't doing for me what Through Being Cool did, what maybe later records did. Maybe this is just like that weird like middle ground where they were starting to get some attention and like kind of left them in the dust a little bit. So hopefully people agree with me a little bit that this was not one of the strongest offerings for the festival lineup, and Through Being Cool would have been just objectively a better choice. All right, I'm going to go a top record. My number 4 top record, because I want to have this on my list. This is the reason I'm picking this one.
Yeah.
In Love and Death.
Fucking hate you. I hate your ass.
I gotta have it in there.
I hate you.
Like, first of all, this record has to be on this list somewhere. Like, we both love this record.
Yeah.
I think we both have some like thoughts about the production and the songwriting and some of the things that like didn't work on it as we've listened to it later on in life and as we've gotten older with it. But certainly, like, this is one of the most anticipated records for both of us going into this fest.
Yes.
And I do think a lot of people are very much interested in hearing and seeing this album and the songs on this album, even though I think most people would prefer the self-titled record in general. But I think this record is big. I think this record is well known. I think this record is a classic. I think this record, like, we picked it as one of our first reviews because we're like, this is like just a certified emo hood classic. So like, it needs to be on there somewhere. So I'm putting it on mine. So hopefully, like, I'm pandering a little bit for some people.
That was going to be my number 5.
It was my number 5. I pushed it up because I'm like, she's going to pick it, and I need it on my list.
I hate you so much.
I need it in my list, so I had to do it. I think I'm going to have to make some choices coming up, and I'm not happy about it.
I'm not happy about it. I'm going to go with my least.
You can have it.
The Devil Wears Prada Plagues.
You can have it.
This just was not it for me, Doc. I get why people like it. Trust me, I do. This is not a band for me at all. No.
Like I said, I'm giving up on least faves because I think that everyone's going to fight me after Anne Lynn and Saves the Day. So it's like kind of Jover for me on this one.
I mean, it's also Jover for me too. We're both going to get fought on this.
On least faves, I think, listen, if you comment, you are loud. But there are a lot more likes than there are comments, which means people agree more often than not with what we're saying in it. It's just the people who disagree are the loudest.
Yeah. And
I don't care if you're loud because the quiet majority is out there.
I'm going to finish up my top. My fifth for my top record is going to be The Black Parade. You get one, I get one.
The fight is going to be over the fact that it's so low, that it was picked so late in the game.
This is the thing, because like we said, this was one where there's some songs that are not as strong. 3 Cheers, and personally for me, Bullets and also Danger Days are strong.
If it was any of the other records, I think it would have been picked way sooner.
Oh, absolutely. We would be fist fighting right now.
Yeah, we'd be like,
we would be beaten up, yeah.
The coin would be called into contention.
This has been overplayed to death to an extent with certain singles.
Yep.
I think what stands out most here is the openers, House of Wolves. But if somebody puts on Teenagers,
We're so done with Teenagers.
I'm really done with it. I'm gonna be there. It's My Chemical Romance. They put on a
I'm
phenomenal
watching it
show.
both nights.
I'm watching it both nights. I'm sad. I'm not complaining during it.
I'm going to lock out least faves
All right.
because I think it's just that time. I think it's just that time to put some fucking truth down on the table.
Uh-oh.
I think it's time to lock in. I think it's time to tell people the actual facts and to hear their complaints because they have heard a truth and they don't know how to deal with it. Viva la Cobra.
No!
Yeah.
Fake news.
Fake news. This record just did not fucking do anything for me, man. This really did not impress me. This really did not, like, I didn't think there was enough good songs on it. I didn't think there was enough good performance on it. I remember a lot of, like, spite, you know, back in the day for, like, the Millionaires, 303, Broken Side, and all that. And Cobra did kind of get away with a little bit of, like, actually making some of the, like, least interesting and least fun stuff that was kind of in that same little genre there. I've come around a lot to, like, more of their poppy stuff they did after this.
Yeah.
I think Guilty Pleasure is good. I think Cities at War is good. Other than that, I'm, like, kind of just out with, like, the rest of this album. All right, I'm going to do a wild card. I really would have put this under surprise hits because it did really strike me as a record that I didn't know I was going to like so much, that I kind of written off a little bit going into it. But the more I, like, think about it and the more that I've, like, thought about this band in general and their whole catalog, I've been like, no, actually, I do really like this record. So it really changed my mind on it. I'm going with the Maine's Can't Stop, Won't Stop. From a sense of, like, my list here, seeing this is kind of like a pop punk emo. That's a good lineup for like if you had this tour, that'd be a good tour.
Yeah,
you know?
no, this tour would track.
That's
we
a
get
good tour.
it.
That's
like,
a good
damn.
tour right there.
Look at that, guys.
Hell yeah, brother.
I'm gonna go with surprise.
We're locking it out.
All right. I'm gonna go with Bayside self-titled.
Good. I just like that choice.
Just never listened to Bayside. Started listening to some of their newer stuff, and then we interviewed them, and they are just really nice people. That does factor into some of
Does
these.
always factor in.
This is just a good band. I'm happy that we listened to this, and I was able to actually get more into it from here. I'm gonna do my wild card too. Sorry, Brian. Armor for Sleep's What to Do When You Are Dead.
That's crazy. That's nonsense, dude. That's nonsense. Record's so good. What a good band. I made it bigger on the screen just so you could see it.
So I can look at it.
So you can look at it.
This was just one I was 50-50 on. The stuff that I did like, I enjoyed. The other stuff, again, I could put it on the background, but I wouldn't be rushing to remind myself who's singing it, what the song is.
All right.
Oh, no.
I'll do my last wild card because we're here and I don't have to worry about
Switching
you
it
picking
over.
something on a top one because I got a second here. This might sound a little pandering. This might be a little pandering. I don't care. It's
That's all he's
pandering.
been
I'm
doing.
gonna do it. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to win the wild card round. We got good wild cards here. This was a band that I had definitely heard and had listened to a bunch of times, but had never really gotten as firmly into. Seen them a bunch, but you know, sometimes it takes like that one time of like really sitting your white ass down and listening to a record. And now you're like, okay, I understand. Here I am. The Wonder Years, The Greatest Generation.
Okay. That's fair.
My opinion of the Wonder Years was always, this is a very good band. It's just not a band that I am like, I know every song by them. I have listened to them. I have heard them a lot. And I know their songs and I know their lyrics and I listen to them constantly. Now I am. Now after this, I am. So my opinion certainly has changed about the Wonder Years in my own life. And how does the Wonder Years fit into the life of Brian in that way? So I'm throwing it on this list because I'm trying to make this tour look good. And it's a good tour. It's a real good
That
tour.
is a good tour.
I gotta lock out my top records, and I'm thinking of like, what does this lineup look like? If I'm looking at our two choices here, who am I gonna pick? What is gonna stand out to me looking at this list? So I got to think like, what is the album that I need to like round this out that like is gonna really kick it into high gear, make people excited, make people want to vote for my list? And I'm really torn about it because I'm really torn about it. I'm gonna stick to my guns on this one. I'm gonna stick to it. A Day to Remember is Homesick. I'm sticking to it. I'm thinking right now, Thursday's Full Collapse is not on here. Under Oath, They're Only Chasing Safety is not on here. And my personal choice would be to put those two on my top faves, my top records. But I feel like I'm well-rounded enough here in my choices to get the choice. You know, people will be like, all right, Brian's got a good list here. His top five are pretty good. Because A Day to Remember is a gigantic band. This record is, to me, a perfect record, 10 out of 10, no skips. I think a lot of people agree with me on that, so I feel strongly rounding out my top five, top records, Homesick. But really for me, like, I would maybe put Thursday's Full Collapse under surprise hits for me.
Okay.
And I would put Under Oath under, like, just certified emo hood classic that, you know.
I think Thursday, that would be a separate one, and Thursday would be in there too.
Yeah.
I agree. Because I was looking at both of them, and I was like, there's not really a category I feel I could put it in where I also knew, like, if we were going back and forth. I think the only one I for sure would have thought was Under Oath for you.
Yeah.
So when it didn't make an appearance, I said, okay.
I want it in my list, but I think that this is the most true to me, and this is the most, like, what I'm excited to see, what I love, albums that I really care about. And I think from, like, a voting, like, what's the best list for me to go out of this game with is, like, I got to have a Homesick in there. I just got to have a Homesick in there.
Okay, my least fave, my number 5, Nada Surf's Let Go. So EP. This should have been at Best Friends Forever Festival. It is what it is. It's just not for me. That's it.
I agree. I do think this is where a lot of the parents are going to be while their kids are watching Fall Out Boy.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's going to be on at the same time because they're like, there is no overlap. All right, these are our lists. This is our final count here. Top records. I have Good Apollo by Coheed and Cambria, A Lesson in Romantics by Mayday Parade, Say Anything's As a Real Boy, The Used in Love and Death, and A Day to Remember's Homesick.
And my top records are going to be Coral Fang by the Distillers, Want by 303, The Silence in Black and White by Hawthorne Heights, Don't You Fake It by the Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance.
For our least favorite records, my number 1 is The Emptiness by Alesana. Number 2 is Never Take Friendship Personal by Anne Boleyn.
Hate it.
Number 3 is Best Buds by Mom Jeans. Number 4 is Saves the Days, Stay What You Are. And number 5 is Viva La Cobra by Cobra Starship.
I hate this man. My least favorites are Atreyu's The Curse, Mothership by Dance Gavin Dance, Color Me in Kindness by Basement, Plagues by The Devil Wears Prada, and Let Go by Nada Surf.
Surprise hits, the records that impressed us the most that we had never heard before. We've got The Forecast, In the Shadow of Two Gunmen, Tonight Alive's The Other Side, Dusk in Summer by Dashboard Confessional, State Champs, The Finer Things, and Feel Something by Movements.
My surprise hits were Pretty Girls Make Graves, The New Romance, Still Searching by Senses Fail, All's Well That Ends Well by Chiodos, This War Is Ours by Escape the Fate, and Bayside Self-Titled.
And our wild card. Mine was all of the records that I have come around on, changed my mind on from the original time that I had heard it. We've got Commit This to Memory by Motion City Soundtrack. We've got Say It Like You Mean It by The Starting Line. Tell All Your Friends by Taking Back Sunday. The Mains Can't Stop, Won't Stop. And The Greatest Generation, The Wonder Years.
My wild card was ones that I was just 50-50 on, and I feel no actual particular hype or heavy dislike for it. Starting off with Simple Plans, No Pads, No Helmets, Just Balls, Collide with the Sky by Pierce the Veil, The Bug Album by Seosin, The All-American Rejects Self-Titled, and What to Do When You Are Dead by Armor for Sleep.
All right, so you got to let us know in the comments what you think. Who had the better list? Who did the best? Who did the worst? in making these lists. We pandered to you. We made it the way that you should vote. So go down there, let us know who you think did the best, did the worst, did the most offensive to you. Who offended you the hardest, I guess.
Who hurt you and broke your heart into a million pieces?
Who hurt you the most? Let us know what you think. This is coming out after the fest. We have not been to the fest yet, but by the time you see this, we will have been there. We will have had a great time. We will have an episode coming out next week where we talk to all the bands that we were able to interview. We talk a little bit about our thoughts on the festival altogether. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. We will do more drafts of different types of things in the future. Thank you for checking out all the album reviews that we did this year. Thank you for checking out this video. Make sure to subscribe if you are not already. We have a lot of different types of content besides just album reviews that you probably have seen on the channel already, but we got a lot more stuff coming up. So hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the comments. Let us know when we were young. We'll see you there.